Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most important systems that we have here at OC Tanner, coaching.
Absolutely. Adam's got some great things prepared for us, so go join us.
We are going to talk about the coaching system, and there are a lot of things about the coaching system, but I want to take a step back and kind of explain the why, and then we'll dive into the coaching system, right? So as you guys know, people come from all over the world to see OC Tanner, right? We get the daily privilege to work here every day in a culture that's as rich as it is, because it's rich, right? They see that culture. They see also our people. Does this picture look familiar? Right? This wasn't too long ago, right? This was Debbie, her very last day. Did she hit 30? How many years was it?
34 in October.
34 years that she'd been with us, right? And I wanted to share this picture with you guys because it shows a couple of things, right? But the main thing it shows is this is a family, right? Like this is a group that cares about each other. Like you can see it in their smiles. Like they are close. They care about each other. And that's the culture that you kind of experience while being here at OC Tanner. And they see it. And you know what's funny? They often will say, hey, can we take some of your people? Can we hire your people? And we kind of laugh like, oh, that's funny, you know, but they're half serious, like, hey, we want to hire your people. And the reality is the culture is the way it is because of a principle that we believe in, right? And when you think about the principle we believe in, it's the principle of respect every individual, right? Something that we talk about here regularly. And this principle has come from the Shingo model, or the Shingo model, and it's the bottom or the base of the pyramid. Our culture is built on that foundation of respect for every individual, and the other one was lead with humility, but I'm going to focus on the respect for every individual. Now, when it comes to respect for every individual, if that's your principle, you also have a core thought, right? And the core thought behind the principle is what we discussed all last year. You guys remember this phrase? We respect every individual because we believe everyone has intrinsic value and untapped potential. What does that mean to you guys? Intrinsic value and untapped potential.
When I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking that we come here, and we learn skills that we have, but at the same time, untapped potential to me means improvement.
Yeah.
So you actually learn a skill or you learn something that you can do and you actually make it better. Think about making the process a lot better. And that's your untapped potential. Because you don't know those things when you're coming here. But when you're actually doing the job and you're actually working with other people, it actually brings out more ideas.
Yes, right? It's stuff you didn't even know was inside. And then you had an opportunity or you had the chance. And then it's like, whoa, I'm actually good at that. And then you can continue to invest in it and grow, right? Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. What about this right here? We believe everyone has intrinsic value. It's not a word we use very often, right? No. Intrinsic. Do you guys know what that means? Who can explain what that means? What does intrinsic mean? Intrinsic means that it's just innate. It's just inside of you. You didn't have to earn it, or you didn't have to develop it. It's just planted in there from the time you were born, right? Does that make sense? So we believe that people have value not because they earned it or they built it or they worked hard for it. It's already there. And if you believe people have intrinsic value, if that's one of your core thoughts and you come to work, often our approach with people is more curious. Like, oh, I wonder what Cecilia does. Like, what does she love? Or what does she do well that maybe she doesn't even know she does well? We can't wait to discover that, right? And so with this being one of our core thoughts here at OC Tanner, of, hey, we believe everyone has that intrinsic value and that untapped potential, it really changes the way we treat people, right? It changes the way we interact. And even if our initial reaction or interaction with somebody was negative, if this is my core thought, you think I'm going to forgive them a little quicker? Absolutely, right? I'm going to forgive them, we're going to move on, and we're going to continue to work well together, right? And this core thought, tied to the principle of respect every individual, has been a key component of helping us create a culture that people come all over the world for, right? And the way we continue to work and build around this is, well, we create systems around the things that are important. So our culture, our people are important to OC Tanner, right? So whatever's important to you, you've got to create systems to support that's important to you, right? So with that culture being the thing we're focusing on, we created the coaching system. The coaching system was designed to continue to instill that respect and to make sure that is something that's constantly a focus for us. If we forget or we remove the system altogether, that culture will die, right? You have to constantly invest in and make that a priority for yourself, is investing into that system so that it can continue to give you that result of the wonderful culture we have here, right? So now diving into the coaching system, there's 3 components of that system. The first one is find. We want to find great people. We also want to develop, right? Because they have untapped potential. We all do. We want to develop that untapped potential. And then third is we want them to stay. We want them to be like Debbie that says, hey, 34 years, got it. You got me. I'm here, right? And so with those 3 components of the system, the first one being find, I want to dive into each of them. So now the first one, which is find, we do a lot of run-of-the-mill stuff that's not anything to write home about, right? We've got signs out front. We contact the temp agency, the local temp agency. They send us some people. We go through referrals, right? We're often asking referrals. But there's a couple of things that are unique about us here. So in Salt Lake City, we're actually an international refugee hub. So that means people come from all over the world, and we're anxious and excited to get them to come here. And when they're here, well, OC Tanner opens their doors wide open and says, absolutely, we'd love to have that diversity here. We believe that diversity is what sets us apart and what is a major, major advantage for us as a company is that diversity. And so that's something that's unique. But this right here, stickle bricks. So this stickle bricks is actually a really unique thing about OC Tanner. And it helps us find and keep the right people. Now, stickle bricks, it's the game that maybe you or your kids played with growing up. It looks like this, right? And it's made of these pieces that can be upside down. They can fit in a million different ways, right? And it's designed to be a little complicated, and is intentional. That's why we use it. Is because when the group comes in, say there's 10 or 15 people, they come in. We say, welcome to OC Tanner. We're excited you're interested in working here. We're going to do a fun activity. It's just a 30-minute activity. And that activity, we say, hey, this is the part that you're going to need to produce. It looks exactly like this. And in fact, we've given you guys instructions on how to do it. And so you can see it out here. We give them tons of supplies, and we say, in about 1 minute, you're going to be asked to produce this part. And we say, ready, talk amongst yourself. You've got 1 minute to arrange yourself and start producing this part. 1 minute passes, and then the customer starts shouting. And they're saying, hey, I need 5, I need 5. And so they're scrambling, and it's designed, it's kind of a mean trick, I guess you could say. But what it really does is it simulates an environment that pulls the candidates out of the interview mentality, right? They're no longer thinking that I'm in an interview. They're thinking, oh, I'm playing a game. And then when they relax, you start to really see who they are, right? And you wouldn't believe all the good things we see when they kind of get pulled out of that environment, right? And also the red flags we see. So when we play stickle bricks, we look for the good behaviors, but we also notice and identify the bad behaviors, right? Some of the good behaviors we notice are, hey, feedback, people giving or receiving feedback well, right? Or being gentle or kind. People being respectful toward each other. Those are the things that we're like, okay, this is good, we like this. But then we also see bad behaviors, right? Believe it or not, people have started yelling or commanding, right? Like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. This is how it's done. So we start to see these behaviors, and those that show the bad behaviors in that little simulation that we do with stickle bricks, we say thank you for coming, and we don't call them back. Those that are good, that show those behaviors, we can't wait to bring them in, and they add to the value here at OC Tanner, right? So that's just one thing that's unique about how we find people that I wanted to highlight. Now the next thing is develop. Once people are in the door, it's important that we develop them, right? There's a couple of things that we do that I want to highlight. One is when people come in the door, they have a unique perspective, they have different ideas, they haven't seen what we do here, right? And so there's a ton of value in capitalizing on that. So we want to take, whether you're a team member, a team leader, a group leader, we want to take the time to invest in you and give you chances to learn off of the line and maybe in a less stressful environment so that you can continue to identify and make changes and improvements, right? So first, with our group leader project, all of our group leaders, when they get hired, they go 3 months where they aren't given a team. They don't know where they're going to go, like which teams they're going to be assigned to. They have no formal authority, and they're given a massive project, right? And it's a project that's designed to stretch them, and they'll go across the entire supply chain. And it's like I said, it's 3 months. The first month, they're just simply doing the see phase. They're seeking to understand, right? And then the think and experiment part, that's where they're testing some ideas or some hypotheses that they have. And then the third month is for prove and sustain. They go through this whole process strictly with no authority and just through their influence, through working with others and being the type of leader that people want to follow. Not because they have the authority, right? But because they're motivated or inspired to follow them, which I think is a really big deal, right? And so that's part of our group leader project that's a little bit unique about us. Then after that 3 months, then they're given the team and they're off and running. And we've invested 3 months worth of time just strictly on their growth and development, which is a big deal, right? I know when I did it, I genuinely appreciated like that time to learn and to grow without the pressures of the day-to-day job that allowed me to be ready when it was, when the 3 months had passed, which was really helpful. Things like foundations for contribution. You guys know this. All team members, when they start, they have 90 days to complete a foundations for contribution. Now, of course, they're going to learn how to do cert printing, and they're going to learn how to do work on the line and final assembly, or they'll learn the job skills. But apart from the job skills, we also want to arm them with some soft skills or some knowledge around 5S, around 8 wastes, around how to give and receive feedback. And it's this whole training program that they go through over the 90 days. And you guys, all the team members, have to sign off and say, yep, we want this person in our team, right? And you guys have probably seen that as you signed for your team members to say, yep, we want them here. And that's something that's unique about OC Tanner as well when we're looking to develop our people is, hey, let's get them the right tools and resources from day one so they can hit the ground running and seeing opportunity and helping make us great, which is pretty fun. We have other things too, team leader, group leader development plans that are great. Everybody is expected to have a development plan. I don't care if you've been here for 10 years, 20, 30, 40 years. We all are expected to have something that we're focused on, that we're growing, that we're invested in, something that's important to us, right? And sometimes the go for greater goals, they could be business related, tied directly, but they might be something that's impacting your emotional stability or your emotional or physical, whatever it could be, something that could make you better inside or outside of OC Tanner. We don't care. We believe they're so closely related that it's something that's important to you, and we have them every 6 months. We do those development plans, right? The go for greater goals. Last is this one right here that's unique. Rotations every 3 to 5 years for team leaders, group leaders, and vice presidents, right? So we just barely had a recent rotation where our VPs swapped, right? We went from Tolan to Dave. And that is incredibly unique about OC Tanner. And that is strictly around the idea and concept of people development. I remember my brother, when he heard that we rotated, he's like, that's crazy. He's like, look at all the knowledge that you learned and the expertise and how entrenched you were in shipping, and they're gonna just move you to a completely different department? And I said, yeah. And they moved me, and I could not be more grateful, right? Because yes, did I have some expertise there? But when you have expertise, you don't rely on the people that are doing the job. You don't listen as well, right? And sometimes the people that are doing the work, instead of them being creative with their minds, they start to turn to their leader and say, hey, what do you think we should do? Whereas we want to flip that on its head. And we want the leader to be there as a servant leader to support and grow and water the ideas of the team members. Because who's doing the work every day? You guys are, right? The leader doesn't know as well as you guys a lot of the opportunity that's on the floor. And so that is a really unique trait that keeps the leaders also being humble. If you're not the expert, you don't know the answers, right? So if Ayan comes to me and says, hey, Adam, what should we do here? I just got here, Ayan. I don't know up from down, right? I don't know any of that. And so I learned to rely on you guys. And instead of telling you, I start to ask better questions, right? I start to seek to understand. and I start to really build that relationship of respect, because I need you guys, and we need each other, right, as we're working together. So that's really unique, and under the development phase, that's a big part of our coaching system, are those tools or those subsystems that help develop and grow our people and make our culture great here. The last one is keep, right? Like we said, we want Debbies, we want people that have been here 40 and 45 years, which is not uncommon, right? Not uncommon here, but in other companies, that is very uncommon, right? And especially the amount that we have here, it is very, very unique. And so keeping people is a big part of our coaching system as well. Within that, there are a few things that we do. Inline coaching, right? Where the team leaders 2 times a month are spending a half hour with every team member. And it's undivided, and it's specifically right there watching Sarah. And their goal as a team leader when they're doing this inline coaching is to support. What does Sarah need? She's doing this job every single day. How can we better support her? And that gives Sarah an opportunity to say, hey, I'm struggling right here with my quality or my efficiency. Could you help me? Or could you give me some pointers? What are other people doing? Why is it that Cecilia has no sweat? Sorry to dig on you, Sarah. No, this is a pretend scenario, right?
It may be true.
Yeah. Anyway, so that gives Sarah an opportunity to really reflect and ask and pull for help, right? And then also it gives the team leader an opportunity to observe and to help share the learnings from team member to team member about how Sarah can improve and how we can make life easier or better or safer for Sarah as she's working every single day. Does that make sense? So that is done 2 times a month by the team leader, and then also at least 1 time a month, preferably more than once, preferably twice, every team member has offline, I'm going to call it offline coaching, right? Where we say, hey, let's get away from production for a half hour, maybe 45 minutes. Let's go into a room. Let's talk about what's on your mind. And we're really big on having this outward mindset of how can I help you, right? As the coach. We also, this was kind of a recent change the past maybe 5 years or so, the inside out coaching, right? Which is a coaching process or system or methodology that really helps the coach instead of being like an evaluation every month or every 2 weeks. It's more of a, hey, Ayan, what's on your mind, right? What's your biggest challenge in your team? And it's around, that's what coaching really is. It's not what the coach has to tell you guys, tell the team members. It's what is on your mind? What's stopping you from being successful, and how can I be a support and a help to you on your journey as you're improving, right? It's also going to be revolved around that coaching or the Go for Greater, the development plan. We care about our people. We want them to develop and to grow and to learn. And so that coaching off the line, at least once, preferably more than once, is happening every single month with every single team member, which that coaching is really, really important. We are big on feedback, giving and receiving feedback, creating an environment where people feel comfortable giving and receiving feedback, right? We also have tools like the 5x5, right? That colorful sheet that really helps us identify where am I and where do I want to be, right? Where do you see me? And where do I see myself? Is there a gap? And if there is a gap, it opens up for really good conversation between the coach and the coachee to have that conversation. I was thinking I was going to be a 130. You put me at a 120. Walk me through what's kind of on your mind. What would it take for me to be a 130? Those are awesome questions, right? That's the team member or the person polling to get better, which is a great step with a person's development. And then this last one right here, that kind of lit up a little bit. The last one is the L4. The L4, where our leaders, all exempt leaders throughout the company, 2 times a year will take a step back and they will go visit with their customer, they'll go visit with the team members, they'll go visit with their peers, and then they'll go visit with their leaders and they'll get feedback. And they'll ask questions around, hey, what am I doing to wow you? What should I continue to do? Because it's not always, development and improvement isn't always on the things we're not doing right. It's what should I continue to do that you've enjoyed or wowed you? And then the other one is, how can I help you be more successful? Kind of that outward mindset. And you go ask all those groups of people every 6 months, and you're reflecting, and then you get a chance to sit down with our Executive Vice President, Gary, and we get to debrief with him. Hey, Gary, this is some of the feedback I got, and this is kind of what I'm thinking for the next 6 months of what I want to change, and it feeds in perfectly to our go for greater or our development plans so that we're off and running for the next 6 months on things that we want to improve that are important to those 4 areas, right? The team members, the customers, the leaders, and your peers. And that's the L4, that's a big part of KEEP. So I say that all, so that's kind of the coaching system, all 3 of those elements. A key part of helping things sustain is having something in place so that you're checking the pulse, right? Is it still working? Is it still happening, right? And that's what leads me to our Gemba system, where each system owner, so I'm not a system owner, Carrie Heitzman is, I'm on the committee of the coaching committee, and we as a committee, we come up with these cards, these are called Gemba cards, and these Gemba cards, they ask a series of questions, right? And they're assigned to all the exempt or all salaried leaders throughout the company or throughout supply chain, 1 a week. And so these ones are the ones for coaching. And so once a week, a leader will get assigned a card, and they'll say, okay, I'm supposed to go into the turquoise team. You guys see this happens all the time. They go into the turquoise team, and they'll ask these questions around inline coaching. They'll ask these questions around leader monthly coaching. Because sometimes we slip, right? And the goal is that when we slip, we have a process in place to catch it so that it doesn't slip too far where we're really reaping the consequences of a slipped system, right? And so that is a big part to help us monitor and sustain the system are these Gemba cards. And on the coaching committee, we review over these cards and we'll often tweak them as we continue to progress and get better. Or if we're implementing a new change to our coaching system, well, we'll update the cards and we'll continue to improve and build upon them. So this is something that we have to help sustain that system. Now, just in ending, this was a quote from Atomic Habits that I thought was brilliant. He says, "You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems." Whatever's important to you, whatever it is, even if it's at home or if it's here at work, you create systems to drive those behaviors. OC Tanner is a world-class company, right? And people come from all over the world to see our culture. That culture is rich because we have a strong system in place, which is the coaching system, along with others. But it's a big part and a big focus of ours is what are those systems doing, what's the health of those systems, and how can we continue to maintain, build, and improve those systems to better serve our people. And that is our coaching system in a nutshell.
Wasn't that awesome? Adam had some really great words for us. And in addition to what he mentioned about stickle bricks, we're going to do an entire video to walk you through why we do the stickle brick process, how it kind of makes them and drills into that uncomfortableness, and we get to see how they really work under pressure. So look forward to that. We hope to see you back.
And if you really, really like this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe so that you can get caught up on all of our new videos that are coming out every week.
Absolutely. Hit that little bell. Thanks, y'all. And I have learned the hard way not to adjust my mic on screen, because then it becomes a blooper.
I'm actually in this wall.
No way.
Yeah.
Time travel. It's wonderful.
Maybe stand on the other side.
No, that's more confusing.
My area of play is like maybe right here.